Hello everyone, welcome to the Unistellar channel. Thank you for being here. In this first video, we're going to talk about how to do a quick setup straight out of the box with your EV scope. This is what we call the quick start guide. So there's really nothing complicated here. Just going to take a few minutes, and at the end, we're going to be able to see galaxies and nebulae. So if you're ready to discover the wonders of the night sky, let's go. Let's do it. We'll start with the installation. We're going to remove the tripod and open the legs up to their maximum setting. The first thing we're going to do is set up this bubble level. So what's this guy do? Well, it's going to let us verify that the tripod is completely level. Make sure that the bubble is centered in the middle of the black circle by moving or adjusting the legs as you need. Now we're going to untighten the screws. So you want to take your EV scope by the base and gently just pop it in. And then you want to tighten up your screws to make sure it's well fixed. Don't forget to take off the top cover and also the eyepiece. Now your EV scope is installed. You can switch it on by pressing on this button for 2 seconds. You're going to see a purple light for about 5 seconds, and then it's going to turn red. When it's red, it means your EV scope is ready to go. So now you've got the EV scope installed, let's talk about the connection between your smartphone and this guy. Depending on which phone you've got, see if it's an iPhone, you're going to download it from the App Store. If it's an Android, you're going to download it from Google Play, and you're going to download the Unistellar application. With the application, we're going to be able to control the EV scope, make observations, and save images, and be able to share them as well. Once you download the application, you're going to be able to connect with the EV scope. To do this, it couldn't be simpler. You go to the settings on your phone, look for Wi-Fi, and connect to the EV scope network. You should be able to see a network named EV scope followed by 6 random characters. Really important, if you see no internet connection, this is totally normal. The EV scope creates a Wi-Fi network, but it's not an internet connection. However, you've still got an internet connection on your telephone with 3G or 4G, just not Wi-Fi. One thing though, if you're on Android, you must be on at least version 9. Otherwise, the message that you have no internet connection is correct. So now that the EV scope is connected with your smartphone, we can launch the application. Here's what we see when we launch the app for the very first time. Geolocation. The EV scope uses this to know where it is and what it's looking at when local network. Because you're now connected to the telescope Wi-Fi, this is the telescope network. So you can safely say yes, allow. By selecting don't allow, your smartphone will not be allowed to connect to the telescope and you will not be able to control it. Push notifications. This will allow the app to send you notifications. Access to photos. This will allow you to save photos of your observations on your phone. The first thing you see is the catalog. This is also the first icon on the bottom of your screen. Here, you can find thousands of deep sky objects. Just scroll down to explore the library. Select an object to open its information. You can scroll up to get more information, like the constellation in which it's located, and much more. You'll also find the Go To button. As soon as you click on it, the EV scope will move towards the object. You can view objects only visible to you by selecting Visible Sky Area, or all of them when Visible Sky Area is turned off. You can filter the object by type, galaxies, nebulae, or planets, and also sort them by recommendation or proximity to where the telescope is pointing at. Let's have a quick look at the other icons. The second one is called Science, and this is really interesting. You can participate to scientific astronomical observations such as asteroid occultations, exoplanet transit, planetary defense, and cometary activity. But we're going to talk about this in another video. The third one, gallery. This is where you can save your images and share them with your contacts. This is also where you'll be able to find information about the objects you've observed and the observing conditions. Directly above the gallery icon is the EV scope icon, where you control your EV scope and view your observations. This icon is very important important because this is where you're going to spend most of your time. The last icon you need to know is the settings icon. Here you'll find many settings related to your telescope, like sensor calibration, image saving options, battery life, used storage capacity, and much more. For now, let's go back to the telescope icon and observation screen. You can see that the icons have changed. Now you have 3 icons here. Included on that screen, you have 2 big areas of interest: the observation window and the controls area. The observation window is where you'll see the objects you're observing and where you'll find the EV scope orientation button. The controls area is where you'll find a shortcut to the catalog and icons to start the enhanced vision, and one to save your image on either side of the catalog. Above those 3 icons are predefined zoom levels, and below are 2 buttons. One to show the in-app joystick and move the telescope, and the other to edit the observation window settings like brightness or contrast. First, let's go ahead and click on the Move button at the bottom. It will display the in-app joystick, which will allow you to move your EV scope. You can hold and drag it, and the EV scope will move in the direction you want. Activate the slow mode to move it really slowly. This is very useful when you need to recenter an object in the middle of the screen. With the in-app joystick, you're going to be able to lower your EV scope to around 45 degrees so that you can see stars through the eyepiece. It should be really easy, but if you don't see stars straight away, move your joystick until you do. As soon as you see stars, you're going to check the focus by turning the focusing wheel located at the bottom of your EV scope. To get the best focus possible, you need to align the visual cue with the top screw, not the left one, the top one. One thing though, even if you've got the visual cue aligned with the top screw, this may not give you the best focus, so play around with it until you get the best focus. If you want to learn how to have the best focus possible, be sure to check how to do the mirror alignment and how to use the Badenov mask. Now you should be able to see really sharp stars on your smartphone and through the eyepiece. It should look like this. This one is out of focus, this one is sharp. This is where you can press on the button that says EV scope orientation. Thanks to this, the EV scope will analyze the sky, it will recognize the stars, and it will be able to find many objects on its own. It shouldn't take more than 15 seconds, and that's really amazing. If it doesn't work the first time, use your joystick to move the EV scope to another part of the sky and try again. When it's done, the message EV scope orientation successful will appear. So things are getting serious now. Now that the EV scope knows where it is, you're going to be able to find some really cool objects in the sky. Let's talk about the catalog. Here you can access thousands of night sky objects. Obviously, not all night sky objects are visible all the time. As you know, the Earth turns, so the sky moves. That's why the app shows you only what's available right now. One galaxy might be visible at 11 p.m. but not at 4 a.m. Depending on the time, the day, the season, you won't see the same things on the list. To start, you can choose the first objects on the top of the list. These are the most famous and beautiful, fun objects your EV scope can see right now. The screen will display information, including your best friend, the Go To button. As soon as you hit this button, the EV scope will go to this nebula. It'll only take a few seconds. So now we're going to talk about the Observe and Enhance features. When you observe an object with the EV scope, you have 2 ways to see it, 2 different modes. Right now you're in the live view mode. You're watching the sky live. The Edit button at the bottom will allow you to adjust the gain and the exposure time. But where the EV scope is a real marvel is when it makes the transition between live view and enhanced vision. Once the telescope has located an object, either manually or after having used the Go To button, you're going to be able to activate the enhanced vision by clicking on the icon with the stars next to the catalog icon. At this moment, the EV scope will make the almost invisible really visible. Wait a few seconds and you'll be able to see nebulae and galaxies in all their splendor. You can even wait 2 or 3 minutes and it'll give you better results. You'll still be able to work with the contrast and the brightness. After 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to have some